We saw Anthony Fowler in an interesting fight. Yeah, that was interesting.
That was interesting. Yeah, it was. I think he had some boots on from 1980, and then he taped up the soles. I mean, the thing is we got chucked in. We got let down very late on by Steve Wood and Flatley. I don't know whether they had ambitions to go into the fight with a broken foot. Apparently that was what they did, and the doctor sort of overruled it. But to get a fractured foot, very frustrating. Nobody's fault. It's just the way it is. But with that, you know, Eddie had to go and matchroom, and their matchmakers had to go around trying to find somebody that was, you know, able to take the fight at 4 or 5 days' notice. And oops, sorry about that. But yeah, that's what we managed to come up with. You know, he was a guy that was in training, and he came over, and it was just a bit of a shambles, really frustrating for us, to be honest. I mean, we put a lot of work in, wanted a relatively competitive fight. You know, I want to see what he's like if he's responsive in the corner. There's one thing doing it in sparring, being responsive and listening and adapting, but then there's another thing on fight night when the adrenaline's going that little bit more and trying to impress. So I kind of wanted a bit more of an acid test, and that's why we mentioned hopefully we're going to get one on May the 2nd. I'd love him to get on the Dylan White bill. So yeah, I'm working on that one, but because yeah, Fitzgerald fight looks like it's going to be July, so it's a long time for us to wait. With just one round of boxing against, you know, he's had harder pad sessions.
Just how frustrating is it when, particularly Fowler, I mean, Fowler by his own admission and by anybody's admission, you know, he has a big social media presence, he opens himself up to stick sometimes, as people tend to do. I'm sure he would have been, desperate's probably the wrong word, but certainly very keen to put on a good display in his first fight, and something like that happens.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying in the change rooms, he's like, I want to go out there and show what we're working on, and I want to hope this guy, you know, stands up for a few rounds, and it's just a very frustrating thing that happened. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he went 4 rounds with, I think, John Ryder and stuff. That was a long time ago. They're normally tough when they're coming in from Ghana. You know, but unfortunately, that's just what happened, and we just have to sort of brush it off and go again. But in the gym, he was looking really good. As you said, he opens himself up. He's an acquired taste on social media, but when it comes to, you know, working behind closed doors, he's a lovely person. He's a great guy, real breath of fresh air into my gym. Really positive guys, real team building sort of spirit in the gym, and you know, I'm very happy to be coaching him. I think, you know, he's got a lot of untapped potential as well, that hopefully he's able to show, whether it be the Fitzgerald rematch or a fight before. You know, I want to show what we're working on, and I believe he's going to be a proper problem.
That Fitzgerald rematch has been much talked about literally since the final bell of the first fight, but Scott, by his own admission, hasn't really kept himself in shape. I mean, he was supposed to be boxing on the same card, and then that hasn't happened. Is there a chance that maybe that rematch doesn't happen?
Well, it has to happen because he's the British champion, and that's someone that, you know, we want to win that belt, and we want to go on and win that belt, and then box for a European against Garcia. There's some big fights out there. Domestically as well, you got Ted Cheeseman, you got quite a few good names in around the 154-pound division, and but Ant is 29, and we need to fast track him. He's had a lot of amateur fights. He's had a lot of wear and tear in those sort of fights and those training camps over the years, and he can't be lingering around and waiting on a guy that's blowing up and down and incredibly ill-disciplined. You know, his career shouldn't stop at Fitzgerald, but it's one that we really want, and if he wants that fight, as much as people say on social media, oh, yeah, but Fowler lost to him, you know, why should Fitzgerald give him the rematch? Because there's nowhere really for Fitzgerald to go. Like, if he doesn't, you know, if he can't get himself motivated, he needs Fowler to be motivated. You know, I hope for his own sake he can get on the straight and narrow and not, you know, and not piss his career down the wall because he's a talent. But Ant Fowler is a proper professional. That wasn't supposed to be at championship weight, and then we got the message at championship weight a couple of weeks before for the for the Flatley fight, and then obviously it sort of, the WBA didn't sanction it against TETTEH for a defence, and rightfully so, and we still weighed 11.2. So he's always on the weight. He's really disciplined. He doesn't mess about. He trains hard, and that's what boxing's about, really. Especially when you're on the way up, you need to be able to prove yourself and show what you're about, and show you how serious you are about this game. And you can't, just because you win a British title like Fitzgerald did, you can't blow up and down. He needs to go and maximise his career earnings and go out there and be active, which is what he hasn't been.
Final words on one of your old nemesis, really. You've got many of them, so you have to rack your brain to think of which one it could be. Scott Quigg announced his retirement following his resounding loss to John O'Carroll in Manchester. Just your thoughts really on Scott's decision to call it a day. I know the relationship has certainly mellowed over the years. You don't have the you don't have the animosity towards him. He might still have it towards you. Who knows? Scott. Who knows? Just a word on his career really, and his decision to retire from the sport.
First off, I want to congratulate him on a fantastic career. Obviously, we were at the other side of the table, in the other side of the corner when I was with Carl, but he always held himself really well, and we've since met a good few times, and I just got nothing but good words to say about him. He's an absolute gentleman, very humble, nice guy, true professional, gave the sport everything he had, and he's one of the very few people to walk away world champion with some money in his pocket. So I want to wish him all the best. I mean, he put up a great fight against Valdez, and I think that was a very hard fight for him, because he took a lot of punches there, and unfortunately Father Time catches up. It seems strange because he's born in the same year as, we're both born in '88, and it's strange because someone like Luke's 32, but he hasn't had the miles on the clock, but Quigg turned pro I think at about 18 years of age. He's been pro a hell of a long time. With his style, he's always taking shots. That's the way he won his fights. He was worked behind his jab. He was an intelligent fighter in his own right, but he wasn't a slickster. He had to take one or two to give one, and that's he always sort of found a way to win. But unfortunately, with that style, it doesn't favour going into your mid-30s, and I think he's made the complete right decision. Everyone is blowing smoke up John O'Carroll's arse. I don't think it was it was a good performance from him, but it wasn't an outstanding one. I just think he was in there with a guy that was finding it frustrating, couldn't hit the target, and it just didn't have what he used to have. And I think Scott was a little bit in his own head in that fight, and he made the right decision to get out and bow out at the right time, because he's had a couple of hard fights, but he hasn't had many, and his ability, his the snapping his punches and that, being able to pull the trigger is just gone. So I'd like to wish him all the best. It was really nice to see him reunite with Gallagher for that last fight, which proved to be his farewell fight. But it was nice because Joe did the right decision, and everyone said he left him in there too late. He knows Scott Quigg, he knows how tough he is, and he made the right decision to pull him out at that stage, because the snapping his punches, that one shot that could have turned it round, just had left him, and it was a perfectly timed right time to chuck in the towel. He gave him every opportunity, and that's unfortunately boxing. You see it happening. I've seen George just in the training camps, just one or two training camps, and you just start to see it. Obviously George's shoulder and stuff, but it's just not nice to see a boxer, when they were able to do so much, not be able to pull the trigger and not be as effective. And it's just sad. And they're doing the right thing to get out at the right time. and because the two, you know, someone like George and someone like Scott have made some money. They've made a success out of boxing, and they can go on to use all their knowledge that they've done and put it into up and coming fighters coming through, or whether it's in commentary or doing loads of other stuff. And you know, I wish them all the best.